Hey Royals, welcome to our team kit for the month of March. Today I'll be using the Pretty Perennials stamp set. You kind of see that there's a little glare. Some of you have ordered this kit and you have it. You can either stamp along with me or watch the replay and stamp along after and push pause whenever you need. Gonna hold a flip and I'll show you what cards we'll be making. All right, hopefully you guys can see that okay. Let me just adjust it one more time. There we go, a little bit more down. Perfect. All right, so I'm so excited to show you this kit. I came up with this not too long ago, about 2 weeks ago, and these are all just ideas that have been inspired to me from Pinterest, and I've just kind of tweaked it to the way that I would like or the colors that I use. Some of you have this kit, and like I said, you can either stamp along or learn how to use it with the supplies that you currently have. We are using the Pretty Perennials stamp set today from Stampin Up, and I'm using a lot of these ones. The Happy is one of the main focuses for this one, but I have one card that doesn't even have that Happy, and it just has that For You, which is still pretty awesome. Let me go ahead and show you each card, and I did a lot of prep work for myself that I will not include in this video, so be sure to do that before or during and just push pause. All right, so this card here, I have the embossing I've done early as well on mine, and then You Make Me Happy on a little strip of that Night of Navy. And that I use the white embossing powder with a Versamark and with my tool, heating tool. So those two items there. I also did some white embossing with this card here. If you see that one okay, I feel like it's out of focus. There we go. And this one's super fun. The best part of this one are these little extra leaves that you will emboss along the word happy, and it just really reminds me of when you were little and you used to write your name or to a note to a friend, and you would make it really fun with adding like little flowers to their letters. Super fun, and I love that font. And then one more embossing was in this one right here for that little birthday saying right there. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Let's start with this gray one right here that says For You, and I'll have it up so you can still see it. And let's get our supplies for it. In your kit, I cannot send pre-stamped images, so I just sent you the die cuts, which let me show you those real quick. This stamp set has coordinating dies called the Perennial Petals dies, and they are amazing. It's kind of messy in here because I've been using them a lot, but these are great dies, and I used a lot of them for your kits today, even including this cute little banner one right there. All right. So in your kit, I sent you just the white ones. So if you don't have the stamp set, you would use these and just either sponge color them or leave them white. However, we'll be doing white on white, so it's totally up to you. I went ahead and I've stamped mine on the basic white, and I've die cut them out in those three. And I used the Night of Navy and Mango Melody. Let me go ahead and show you all the ink colors that you'll need for today's kit. So there's 3 of them. So that one's in a different language. Let me flip it. We have the Mango Melody, Granny Apple Green, Magenta Madness. And then our other 3 we have is the Night of Navy, Coastal Cabana, Gorgeous Grape, and some Daffodil Delight. All right. Go ahead and grab your Night of Navy for this one because we do still need to stamp the words. And there's lots of little dies for this one, and this awesome textured embossed paper that we use the painted texture embossing folder. And I use that smoky gray. Here's our rhinestones and some of our pieces. I did switch out the center of this one, and for this one I used a stitch circle. I went ahead and used a different circle that I thought fit even better. Let me go ahead and dump out all these pieces real quick, and we'll start our gluing. You do have a basic white for the inside. Let's go ahead and attach that now with our stamping seal. Just put a little bit in each corner, one in the middle, and on your ends to guarantee it. If you want it to be super secure, you can go around the whole border if you want, but our adhesive's pretty strong, so a little bit goes a long way. All right, let's go ahead now and attach our textured piece here. And this one I would recommend, since it's textured, either glue dots to attach it or some liquid glue. I'm going to grab my Tombow liquid glue real quick, just like that. And we'll put that on there. If you're here watching, feel free to say hi. I love seeing it when you guys are on here, but it's okay if no one is watching today, because I know I picked kind of a weird time to show this. All right. Next, we're going to start with our very bottom, and we're going to attach our little circle here. Before you attach a lot of things, feel free to play with all those dies first to see and feel how they will fit and make it, oh, slice shut. So push that aside and make sure that they all will line up just right. All right, let me set that aside so we can quickly stamp. Let me find that piece. Hopefully we didn't lose it. Oh, I'm not seeing it. Hopefully I have it here. If not, let me grab another one. Probably should have been in here. Oh, it was in my baggie right there. When I send them, I always bag them up like this, and I just fold all your pieces together so you have it in one spot, but you might get a stray away like I just did. So make sure you check your bagging. All right, here is our little piece, our banner. I'm using that Night of Navy, and we're gonna use the For You. You can change this to be anything you want. There's lots of different sayings for the stamp set, but I like the For You because it can be for almost anything then. Makes it not as specific. All right, so I'm just inking that off, and we're going to have it closer to the end for this one, and just press down and lift up. Awesome. Go and grab something and clean off your stamp, and let's close that ink pad. Perfect. All right, next let's go ahead and attach that to our card base and our little circle die there. This one comes from the Tasteful Labels dies, I want to say, which has just some really great shapes in that one. I'm just going to glue this on just with glue. Perfect. Then we need to get our leaves for this one. And you should have a leaf with all three. And then you're going to have just a little leaf, and that will be on the bottom. And if you have a whole big one, you would just cut off a little piece of that one, and it will make it work. Let me go ahead and grab, see there's little pieces still left in there, and these just pop right out. You just need to use your scissors or take a pick tool, and we're just going to place them about right here. This one actually, I'm going to go ahead and use my flower and attach this one to my flower first. So that way I have a good idea of the placement for that one. And for when I do that, I usually just add a little bit of the seal on the back and put it behind there. Just like that. For this one, I'm going to go ahead and add some liquid glue to the back of this one. And when I do liquid glue on these leaf part ones, I don't outline the whole thing. I just do little dots at some main points, and that usually secures it pretty well. And we'll flip that over carefully and attach right about there. And since we're using that liquid glue, just hold it down for a quick minute until it can grab onto our paper. All right, so next part we'll have to add these awesome little covers to our flowers. And we're just going to use the liquid glue again, that same technique. And we're going to do all of them at the same time. So that way we'll flip them all over and have these all facing upright so we can see them. And we're just going to add a little bit of glue on each one of these. Put the little one on this flower there. And hold it down. We'll do that for this one, our Night of Navy, and our Mango Melody one. This Mango Melody one, I gave you a little extra embellishment. Let me make sure I have it going the right way. There we go. They do have different curve lines, so you kind of have to play with it and turn it around a little bit. So I have this little extra cut out in the Mango Melody cardstock that you can add to the center of this one. Just a little bit of glue and press down. Okay, so that should be mostly dry, so we can go ahead and grab our dimensionals and start adding the flowers. We're going to start with our Night of Navy one, and we're going to put on, we're going to be mindful of where we're putting our dimensionals. So we want to have it on this lower end here and not too close to the top, because I want to be able to sneak that one into there just a little bit. So remove the backings. And we want to make sure we are covering up that end of that side of the label. So just kind of place it there. Grab this one now. Put a dimensional on the back. This one doesn't matter as much where you put the dimensional. And we're just going to sneak this one right underneath there. Just about like there we go. And this one, we want to avoid dimensionals on the top and want to have them more near the bottom. Let's cover up our stem a little bit so that way we know it's super secure. And add this one. We're trying to make kind of like a arch or a curve on the front of this one. And then lastly, you should have some rhinestones, and just take those off with your nails or tweezers and place them randomly throughout your card. And you should have 3. All right. There's our first card. Let me go ahead and grab our bone folder to finish it and show you. Love it. Super fun and some great texture on that one. Okay, let's go on to our next card for our kit. Let's do this one. This one requires a lot of stamping, but it has some great layers to it. Let me go ahead and grab our Crumb Cake card base. This is the one we're using for this one. So your kit should look like this, and inside has all your pieces. Like I said, I pre-embossed this one, so it's ready to go for me. And then I have my Crumb Cake also for us to attach, and our 3 strips of paper, some rhinestones, and our vellum leaves this time. These vellum leaves are really cool because you can see through them and they're not hiding the cool stamped images we're doing. We're going to use the images as more of a background this time instead of as a focal point like the flowers were before. All right, those ones are ready to go. And this one we don't need quite yet, so let's grab all our pieces we need to stamp. All right. So let's go ahead and start with this one. It's our strip, that's a Coastal Cabana, and I'm just doing ink that matches the same paper. So I'm grabbing my Coastal Cabana, and I'm going to open it up, and we're going to stamp kind of those weird little, I shouldn't say weird, they're kind of like blossoms though. It looks like that. We'll ink that up, and you can either stamp off if you don't want it as dark, or you kind of do a turning and ombre look maybe. So kind of like that. We're just adding texture to these pieces here. We'll set that one aside and close it up. And next we need to do, let's do our next strip. These 2 strips are the same size, the Mango Melody and our Coastal Cabana. The Mango Melody is using a really fun piece. Let me grab that one out. It should be in our stamp still. And it's kind of like this centerpiece usually for flowers, kind of a multi-blotchy one. And let me grab a block for it. Let's put that on. And the color that we need is the same color of cardstock, which is that Mango Melody. We'll open that up, ink it up, And when you do this, you want to kind of go high and lows. So I have it there, go down, kind of up and down, and maybe one in the middle. Oh, there we go, that block. Just like that. Super subtle, not very obvious or anything like that. Just to make that fun background look. Next, let's grab this one. This is our 1 inch by 5 1/4. And we're going to do the Magenta Madness for this one because it matches our color. This is a very bright pink, which makes any card a little bit brighter, but it's definitely more fun. We're going to use the big floral image for this one. And we're just going to ink it up and do, again, kind of partials because this one will not even fit on the whole thing. So we'll do a high, and then we'll do over here more of a low. And a lot of this is going to be covered up in the middle, so you don't even need to stamp this middle section as well. Wipe that clean. All right, we'll put the Magenta Madness away. And our last color or strip is a Gorgeous Grape. And that one, we'll grab our Gorgeous Grape ink. And for this one, we're using another centerpiece. Let me see if I have it out and ready. I have it on a block, so it should be out here somewhere. Hold on. This one might be hidden. Let me see if I can find it. Okay. So it looks like this. I'm not seeing it in my blocks real quick. Let me see if I have it still in here in the center. And, oh, it's right there. It was in here the whole time. Got it. And we'll pick this one away and just attach it to a clear block. Okay. If you want your images to be more dark, like these ones were, go ahead and grab a foam mat and sit that underneath, and they'll help get your images darker, or just press a little bit harder as well. So just go across this whole thing. This one you will be able to see a lot of, so make sure you do the whole thing. There we go. Awesome. And now we should be ready to assemble. We're going to grab our crumb cake from right here. That is just a little bit smaller than our card front. So this is 4 by 5 1/4. So but the same length as our strips, like that. You can play with it first to make sure you get your alignment right. But my plan is to line it up imperfectly and not have it perfectly balanced, or these don't have to line up just right. Different spacing, I should say. So I'm just going to grab my liquid glue and start with my bottom. And we're going to go about 1/4 of the inch from the bottom of the crumb cake. And if you need to help keeping it straight, you can use your grid lines underneath it. Then I'm going to go to the top one. And we'll add some liquid glue to this one. And this one's, we're going to give ourselves maybe almost 3/4 of an inch on the top of this one. We want there to be a bigger gap on the top. Okay, now we just need to add these two in between, and that's how you figure out your spacing, how close or how far away you want them to be. I do suggest you having your different sizes apart from each other. So, or sorry, these are the same size, so I'm going to have them not right by each other. Instead, they'll have the 1 inch in between them. All right. It's looking pretty awesome. We've created that fun looking panel. Let's go ahead and add that to our card base, and we'll get ready to add the rest. This one we have it opening horizontal instead of up and down that way. So just turn your card base, and I'm just doing liquid glue, or the still would work as well. I'll place that on here. Giving yourself a 1/8 of an inch border around the whole thing. Just kind of eyeball it and lay it down. All right. So now we have these two pieces of vellum here, and we're going to attach it to our front here. What I like to do for this one is just grab a little bit of my seal, and I'm going to put it right here. Then I'm going to go ahead and position my vellum so that I know that it's on the card and not going off anywhere, but making sure that it's touching that little bit of adhesive. And then we'll do the same thing for this one. Make sure it's not coming off the card and that it has going different angles. Then we go ahead and use dimensionals for this piece. And I'm going to do at least 5. Make sure that's up and good. Take off the backings. And our goal is just to cover up where those two spots meet with our seine, just like that. And this one still has a piece stuck in it, so I'm just going to punch that out with my, there it went. Came out really easy. And then lastly, we just need to add our rhinestones. And for the rhinestones, you want to put them right in the center of those little embossed leaves. So we're going to add one right there, and one on the end of the Y for the happy, and one by the H. Awesome. All right, that's how this one turned out. I love it. I love those bright colors and how those images became our background and the embossing. Super fun card and not too hard to make. And honestly, these pieces could be just scraps from another card. A great way to use up scraps. All right, let's go to our next one. Our last one we'll save for the very end is this one that requires a lot of stamping, but it's super fun. And it shows you how to use those stamps really well. All right, so here we have this one. I've used the So Ombre paper, and I'm gonna let you know that that one was a celebration item, but this one you can do to your paper if you don't have that paper anymore, because it's no longer available. So what I would suggest doing was either sponging or using your blending brush with a granny apple on just a piece of Whisper White or Basic White, and start up here in the dark and work your way down and makes that look as well. I made it a lot easier by just using that DSP just for the sake of time, and that I have a lot of that paper left. All right, let me get the pieces out for this one. This one's featuring how to make these flowers out of the cardstock versus stamping. So the other one, the first one we did, had us stamp the flowers and then put on the centers. This one has showing how you can just use cardstock to make that flower image. And I think it just is gorgeous and stunning. And I've used some pretty bold colors. So you should have 3 flowers, all in that Magenta Madness, so that it kind of matches the other cards we've made so far. And then you should have a couple pieces of white. For these pieces here, you want to size them up. One will be bigger and one will be smaller. I have one for the inside, will be our smaller piece, and this one will be our front piece. I have it just a little bit bigger than our DSP to give that little extra border. So go ahead and grab our adhesive and we can attach those together now. All right, and you're gonna give yourself the tiniest little border on that one. Awesome. Let's go ahead and attach that to our card base. And because this is that Night of Navy card base, I definitely wanted an inside white piece. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to write a nice message to the person you're sending it to. All right. Oh, I went a little bit crooked on that one. Let me see if I can lift it up. Oh, perfect. If you notice it quick enough, you can usually fix it. There we go. That looks better. I really do like those 3 layers. It just adds just a little extra, and it doesn't take a lot of time. It requires a little bit more use of paper, but if you're like me, you have a good stockpile. All right, let me just advance that a little bit. There we go. Okay, flip this over and we'll put that inside as well. Perfect. All right, we do have a little bit of stamping for this one. Like I said before, we have this one that you've embossed already and is ready to go. This one will put some dimensionals on the back. Let me grab some mini dimensionals or cut your dimensionals in half to fit on the back of this one. Mini dimensionals are great just for these reasons though. Before I do that though, I made this one kind of long, so what I suggest doing after you get yours is just to snip it to size. I embossed mine in the center so that would have enough room on each end. There we go. So that one will be ready for us. Let's go ahead and attach our flowers and then I'll show you how to make this really fun happy. And for our flowers, we're gonna need to glue on these centers first. I'll get those out and ready. And when you die cut, you can see that there's a right side and a wrong side just by how it looks. So turn yours over and you'll see that this has a little bit more of a lip to it than the other side. Okay, so flip over your white pieces, grab your liquid glue again, and let's attach these. Again, just a dot to the centers or to the outer ends of that one. And lay it in there. Like that. Awesome. So this one has different ends to it. So you want to make sure we kind of look at it first to see if it'll line up nicely. It looks pretty good. I'll go ahead and put a little bit of glue. And then flip this one over again. Let's see. How does that look? Not too bad. Okay. So our flowers are made. If you notice, I gave you some opal rounds, which are these really cool embellishments that have that little glitter in the inside. You should have 3 of them. What I'm telling you to do, if you don't have it, it's fine. But grab your Night and Navy blend or a shade of blue blend, and you're going to grab the brush side, and we're going to color in these centers of these rounds, and we're going to make it so that they can be blue. That just matches our card base. If you were to leave it, it would look just fine with just that white as well. But we're just going to go ahead and change the color of these just by using our stamping blends. You see how easy that is? You do have to let it dry just a little bit before we start attaching it. But these are alcohol-based markers, and so they don't take very long to dry at all. And because I have that little glitter in it, you can kind of still see it after you even color it in these opal rounds. I suggest doing it before you put it on because you can get messy when you are coloring in them. And that's okay. Awesome. So now we're just going to let those dry. And we'll go on to our stamping our happy. There we go. So you should have a scrap of paper. It looks like that. And what we want to do is grab my foam mat. This happy is big. And so I always suggest when you're using the photopolymer stamps, you want to have the foam mat available to you. Oh, my glue is coming off on this one. Let me fix that real quick. See if I can just push it or if I need to add a little bit more. We'll see. All right. So the happy I have on this big block over here. We don't need as big of this block, but this one's handy to use. We'll go ahead and grab our Night of Navy. And this set comes with great dies, has lots of floral dies, but it does not come with a happy die. And so we are going to fussy cut this out after we stamp it. Get that nice and inked up. And I can look at it and it looks great on that side. And stamp, press down firmly, and lift up straight. Oh, see, it looks like it has a little spot on that one. So I'm going to flip this one over so I can fix it. And I think there's like a hair in the way of mine. So we're just going to wipe it down and make sure we're good. And I'm going to flip that paper over because I don't want my Happy to have that little flaw there. Usually before I stamp on important things, I do go ahead and do a practice stamp. But I didn't realize that one had a spot on it. And luckily, we are just fussy cutting this one out. So that way, if I mess up like I just did, I have a little bit more wiggle room. It's not a permanent mess up. There we go. That stamped a lot better. You wipe that down so it's ready for our next card. And now we're going to grab our paper snips. And what I suggest doing is just going around those ends as close as you can. And just circling through it. And there's no wrong way to do this as far as how close you want your outline to be, how far away you want it to be, and if you want it to go straight across or if you want to give your P's a little bit of cut in between. Whatever your comfort level is, feel free to do that. You'll find the more you cut out these type of words, the easier it gets, and that it's actually kind of fun. I know, crazy, huh? All right. This Happy, though, it has such a beautiful font and so kind of like a messy Happy. Like an unperfect, not perfect Happy, which is pretty much how most of our Happies are in real life, right? Kind of a messy or imperfect Happy. All right, just go around this end here. If it gets too many long pieces on it, feel free to trim those off just to make it easier on yourself. And there we go. Perfect. Love it. All right, let's put our ink away because that could have been dangerous. And let's go ahead and grab our card base in here and start attaching. This one we're using another one of the leaves, and I just have it in that white. And when finish poking out your pieces, I intentionally send them to you and your kits with the pieces still in there, just so that way they're not as fragile. And we're going to make this one go up kind of like that this time. And for this one, we'll just add a couple of drops of that glue to those under the leaf parts. There we go. That one's going to be messy. I should have had my silicone mat underneath that one. That's okay. It might cause a little squish out, so I'm going to do a quick little dab of that one. There we go. And let's attach our leaf to this one. Right about there. Make sure that it's not going off your paper. And hold it down for a hot minute so that way it grabs. These dies would be great dies to use the adhesive back so you can make your own kind of sticker with them. All right, so we're going to attach this one. I think these should be dry now, so we go ahead and add our centers to our flowers. Like that. There we go. And we're just going to cover up that middle spot. And then we're going to add dimensionals to the back of all of these. Again, you want to be a little strategic with your dimensionals so that way we can stick things underneath them. So this one, I'm going to put dimensionals up on a little higher. Grab them. And leave that bottom free so I can put the other layers kind of underneath there. And we want it to be just about there. So we still want to show that leaf, but have some wiggle room. Okay. Stick this flower here and slide it underneath. Right about there. So this one, let's see, that's not too bad. I don't want that stem to show. So if I can't get it to cover with my flower, I could always cut it off. There we go. Not too bad. Okay, let's go ahead and add our Happy. We'll add some dimensionals to this one. And I'm going to use the mini ones again for this one. Don't worry about getting dimensionals on those P's. Those should be fine. And we'll remove the box. Hopefully you guys are having a great day. We got our sun out again in California, so that's nice. It's warming up again. We had a cold morning though. Just place your happy there, kind of in that bottom right corner. So we have room for our You Make Me, which we already put our dimensionals on the back of that one, and we just need to attach. Add our You Make Me above our happy, and make sure we have it on straight. Awesome. Grab your bone folder and finish creasing that. The kits you have a very light crease to it, so make sure you finish it. Perfect. Love it. And you kind of see I've changed the leaf direction on here, so it's just a preference if you want them to go up more or out more, and how much of those leaves you want to be seen. So much fun. All right, you guys ready for our last one? You're hanging in there? The last one requires the most stamping and has the least amount of dies, and that's your basic white one. So I love this kit for this reason. If I were to open it, it looks like pretty much nothing. It's not until we actually put the ink to the paper that this card becomes amazing. So you have a couple pieces. You have this Magenta Madness already cut out for you. We're going to layer it just like this with liquid glue. I'm going to do that right now. And I will have all these dimensions up over on my blog. So I haven't said hardly any of them today, but I have them all written out so we don't lose them. And we'll just set that right there. I have that birthday ready to go. We can add dimensionals to it and attach it to the front of our card on the bottom. And this one requires another happy fussy cutting one. But we're pros at that now. So you should have a strip of paper, an extra piece, and we have our main piece right here for us to do our stamping on. Let me go ahead and grab that to this top. We'll move some of these things out of the way. There we go. And let's get our happy back in here. And the happy though, we're going to use a Magenta Madness. And our happy block. So go ahead and we'll ink that up. Sorry, I know that's off camera. Just know that I'm inking up my happy there. And we'll just stamp it right there on that scrap of paper. Awesome. We'll wipe it clean so it's ready to go. And then we need to fussy cut this one out. Same thing, just go around all these edges. Any way that you want. If this Magenta Madness is too bright of a color for you, the next a little bit lighter pink is the Melon Mambo. And that one's a little softer, still has that darker pink to it though. I always go in between trying to decide which one I like better, but I figure spring is almost here and we're gonna go bright. And it's one of our in colors. This in color will be here for a whole nother year. Some of our other in colors will be retiring by the end of April, which is sad to always see those go, but I'm excited to see what our new ones will be like. And I will stock up as much as I can on all of my pretty peacock color because that's one of my favorite colors. All right, so our happy's ready to go. This one I just used a little bit of liquid glue. Since our birthday is popped up, we don't need to pop up this one. We're going to attach that to the label. Right about like that. Hold it so it sticks for a minute. There we go. All right. So the last part then is just to do the stamping and to use that tool. In your kit, you should have a little piece of this polka dot tool. I'm going to tie that in a knot right now so it's ready for us to go. And we're going to attach that underneath our label once we are done with a glue dot. Just kind of like that. And you can trim it later. I might leave mine a little bit long and then decide how much I need to trim after I stick it underneath. And that just kind of gives a cute little look. And we use that dot the knot on there to help us with it sticking better with the glue dot. Okay, here comes the fun part. Let me grab my foam mat and I'm going to slide it underneath here because we're going to do a little bit of stamping off. Well, over the edges of our card here. Okay, hopefully you guys can see that well. My tip for you, because there's going to be a lot of stamping on this one, is to start with your biggest image, which is this flower one right here. We're going to do at least 3 of each of the things we're doing. So let me get my Magenta Madness in here. We're going to ink it up. And I'm going to start right here at the top. We'll put a big one right here. Awesome. We'll put another one a little angled over here and coming off our edge. And one more down here in this corner. Perfect. Okay, so that one's done. Our next big image is going to be our little flower, the other flower that we have right here. Make sure ours is clean because we used it earlier. Looks clean to me. And you can either do a stamp off of the Mango Melody or you can do Daffodil Delight. It's totally up to you. We want it to be a little bit lighter because we're going to use a center one with that Mango Melody. So I'm going to grab my Daffodil Delight and our flower image and let's start adding those on. And again, the harder you press, the bigger or the darker the image will come up for these ones. So I'll put one there. I have another one down here in this corner. And we might be okay with just those ones. What do you think? Should we add one more? Maybe I can get a little tip over here for this one. There we go. Perfect. Okay. Our next image for this one. Let's go ahead and finish this one off though. So grab that Mango Melody and there should be a little dot piece in your stamp set. Looks like this. It's very tiny. It just has these little tiny dots and we're going to use that in the center of this one. That and right there. Awesome. So my original card, I had use Old Olive for that green, but I wanted to make it bright and to match the cards better. So I suggest using your Granny Apple for the leaves, and the leaves for the stamp set are 2-step. So we have a fill-in and an outline. So go ahead and grab those. And if you want to do some practicing above so you can kind of see what they would look like, I suggest doing, I'm trying to think which way I did it. If I did the outline first and then we colored it in, I think we did stronger for the outline. Let's see. Let's try it both ways. So there's lighter. This is full strength, and there is a upside down right side up, so make sure you check it. That's the full strength on that one, and that's a bit lighter. So the way that this stamp is, it makes it so you don't almost have to even stamp off to get that same lighter shade. So let's go ahead and ink up our leaves and start attaching them, and then we'll do our last one, which is that really cool kind of bubbly looking flower in the Coastal Cabana. And this one, we're just kind of try to fill in some of the space here. So I have a leaf there. I can even add another one coming out. You have a lot of artistic freedom when it comes to this part of your card. There's that one. Oh, I do love that Granny Apple, though, a lot better than that Old Olive. The Old Olive wasn't bad, but this Granny Apple just makes it a lot more fun and bright. Just matches our colors a little bit better, right? I'll give that one a 2-1 as well. Awesome. Let me, yeah, that looks good. We'll call that good. Sometimes I'll come back to a card and add more after I've got it going. Okay, and we still need to do our centers though for this one. And again, there's like a little notch on this leaf one. So just make sure you line it up right so that your leaves are filling in nicely. There we go. Love it. So our last card. I did a stamp camp recently with this stamp set, and we made some fun cards with that as well. And I have those up on my blog, so if you want to see even more ideas with this stamp set, you can check those out underneath Stamp Camp with Brandy and Melody. Or sorry, I'm going to say her name wrong, aren't I? No, Melanie. There you go. Okay. So let's go ahead and grab, we have 2 more parts we need to do. Well, 3 more actually. Let's grab the last of our pieces. Make sure I have them. We're going to use that little centerpiece for the inside of our flowers. We need this weird looking, kind of like a stick figure, smiley face kind of thing. A sprig, and our little spots here. This one we're going to need our coastal cabana for, and we're going to do the little circles first. So go ahead and grab those. And we're not worrying too much about this section here because that's going to be covered up. But I do want to have some things coming out. So we'll put some right there. And we love to have little bits coming off the edge. So we'll put some right there. And one more up in this corner as well. Awesome. That looks great. We'll close that up. Again, you kind of see how I'm doing mostly 3s. And that fills up the space really nicely. Night of Navy for our 2 last parts. For our center of our flowers, we'll ink that one up. And just press down. Awesome. I love that Magenta Madness with the Night of Navy. I think that just looks stunning. There we go. And then we need to line up our little smiley face stick guy. This one looks intimidating, but you just kind of have to hover for a little bit and get them lined up. So you kind of just turn it a little bit more and then press down. Awesome. We'll do the same thing for these ones. Hover over it. Luckily we can see through this one. And press down. Perfect. That one had me questioning it. I was wobbling really bad, shaking. Okay, last one. Let's see if I can do this one just as well. And press down. Oh, I love it. What a fun stamp set. This one, again, takes a little bit more time, but it's great because if you love to stamp, this is a great one for you to make. All right, let's go ahead and attach that now to our card base. We'll grab some of our seal and just do little hits, centers, and ends, and flip it. Love it. Okay, and we have our piece right here. We need dimensionals on the back of our label, and it's pretty big, so we want to have at least 5 for this one. Corners and center, just like that. I'm not worried about these end tabs being dimensional, so don't worry about that part either. Okay. Ready? I'm going to put it right about here. Make sure it's not over. There we go. So I want to make sure I'm not covering too much of what I just stamped. And that looks pretty good. Lastly, we have our knot on our bow. And we're going to grab a glue dot. And we're going to carefully put that underneath. So just add your glue dot. Press down to the knot. And it picks it up. Put them together. And just kind of push it under. If you need to use your scissors, you can. Just make sure you know that's secure underneath there. And then grab your scissors, just do a quick little trim. Ooh, love it. This one would be great with some extra rhinestones as well. So if you have those handy, I'm sad I didn't throw those in there. But there is that card. Okay, now you have to tell me which one you like better. The old olive or that granny apple. I'm thinking I'm loving this one and how bright and fun it is. Let me get all those cards back in view so you can see them again. We have the happy, a birthday, you make me happy, the sending lots of happy, and that awesome for you one as well. All right, you guys, I hope you had a great time learning how to make these 4 cards using the Pretty Perennials stamp set. And be sure to make them and then share them after you make them. I want to see your creations, what you did different, if you changed up your kit. I would love to see it all. All right, you guys, have a great weekend. Happy stamping, everyone. Goodbye.